Shabbat Shalom, everyone, and good Shabbos. It is Friday evening. We are in beautiful, well, we're not downtown Huntington, but, like downtown Burbank from the old Laugh-In TV show. It was an absolutely beautiful day today. It's been a little chilly, and we've had some wetness, some rain, but the sky was blue, and the sun was out, and the trees are in bloom, and the flowers are in bloom, and it was a wonderful Friday. And so nice, easy slide now into Shabbat. Put the work week behind us, put everything that weighed us down, take it off and set it down, at least for a little while as we move into Shabbat, the day of rest. And so let's sit up nice and straight, or if you're standing, stand up nice and straight. Let's take a couple of 3 deep breaths. Take a deep breath in and out, letting go of all the accumulated stresses and accumulated shtus. That's a nice Hebrew word for nonsense that we've picked up during the week. Little things that kind of weigh us down. Take another deep breath in and out, letting go of things that want to hold us down, but we don't want to let that, we don't want to carry them during Shabbat. One more deep breath in and out, easing our way into Shabbat. We're going to begin with Kabbalat Shabbat, the welcoming of or the receiving of Shabbat. And it's not the fact that the receiving of or the welcoming of is that we are anticipating Shabbat and we're looking forward to it. And so we are getting ourselves ready for when Shabbat makes its appearance. And so we're going to begin first by benching licht, by lighting the Shabbos candles, the Shabbat candles. And we have Sam here, and the bracha is on page 2, and a reading is on page 3.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kedashanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahalik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Thank you, Sam. Sure. All right. We are going to begin page 6. We're going to begin on page 6. And let's read responsively near the middle and towards the bottom of the page. May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship.
May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, thanks to express, hopes to nurture.
May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
All right. Let's warm up our singing muscles a little bit. Let's turn to page 20. And Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibor echad, Ishmi'anu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad u'shmo echad, L'shem u'tiferet v'litchila, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, P'nei Shabbat nikabela. לקראת שבת לכו ונלכה, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם נסוכה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, ימין ושמאל תפרוצי, ואת אדוני תריצי, על יד איש בן פרצי, ונהי שמחה ונגילה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה, בואי בשלום עטרת בעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה, בואי חלה, לך דודי לקראת כלה, פני שבת נקבלה. Let's turn the page to 22, and let's read in English the top paragraph for Psalm 92, also known as the Psalm for Shabbat. A psalm, a song for Shabbat. It is good to praise Adonai, to sing hymns to your name, O Most High, to proclaim your steadfast love at daybreak, your faithfulness each night, with a 10-stringed harp, with voice and lyre together. You have gladdened me by your deeds, Adonai. I shout for joy at your handiwork. How great are your works, Adonai, how very subtle your design. A brute cannot know, a fool cannot understand this. And the indented paragraph in Hebrew. Tzadika tamar yifrach, ke'erez balvanot yihiske shetulim beveit Adonai. Bechatzrot Eloheinu Yahafrichu. O Genuvun Beseva Deshenim Vera'ananim Yihiyu Lehagi. Ki ashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. Page 24. We'll greet the angels who are sent to be with us on Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon. Mi Melech, Malachei Amlachim HaKadosh, Baruch Hu. We have welcomed Shabbat. And, you can feel the air around you a little bit different. It's a little a little different right now. It's no longer the work week. It is the one day of the week in Hebrew that is not known by a number, right? In Hebrew, right, we know Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. In Hebrew, it's they're counted. Yom Rishon, Yom Sheni, Yom Shlishi, Yom Revi'i, Yom Chamishi, Yom Shishi, right? Day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. But Shabbat is the only one. It's not Yom Shvi'i. It's not the seventh day. It's Yom HaShabbat, or just Shabbat. So it's a day that is marked even on how we count the days as being special, as being distinct. And so we're going to move into the evening service for Shabbat. And we'll be on page 145 with Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah v'yalmad yivrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei v'chayechon u'v'yomechon u'v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael bahagala u'v'zman kariv v'yimeru amen. Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevorach Leolam Olam Me'almaya Yitbarach V'yishtabach V'yitpar V'yitramam V'yitnaseh V'yitadar V'yitalev V'yitalal Shmei Dekudesha Brichu Leila Min Kol Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Dahamiran Be'alma V'yimeru Amen. We call to formal evening services, page 146, Baruch Hu. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Leolam Va'ed. On page 147, let's read responsibly in English. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom.
Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures.
Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai ha'ma'ariv aravim. Ahavat olam beit Yisrael amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim otanu limadet. Ein Adonai Eloheinu b'shochbeinu uv'kumeinu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha u'v'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki heim chayenu v'yorech yameinu v'yorech yameinu uvahem nehege yomam v'layla yomam v'layla ve'havatecha al tasir mimenu li'olamim baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, b'chol levavcha, u'b'chol nafshecha, u'b'chol me'odecha. V'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam B'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha havaderech, uv'shopbecha uv'kumecha, uv'kshartam liot al yadecha, v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha, uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha, uvisharecha. Leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai, v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem. Ani Adonai Elohechem, asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim, liot lachem le'elohim. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Page 151, let's read responsively in the middle. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all.
Yet that oneness eludes our grasps, imperfection and evil abound.
Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness.
There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul.
When will redemption come?
When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves.
Long ago, we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High.
We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom.
Top of page 152, Mi Chamocha. Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai, Mi Chamocha Nedar Bakodesh, Nohora Tehilot, Ohosef Ele, Malchutecha Ra'u Vanecha, Bokeam Lifnei Moshe, Zeli Anu V'Amru, Adonai Yimloch Leolam Va'ed, V'nehemar Kifad Adonai et Yaakov, Uga'alo mi'ad chazak mimenu, Baruch ata Adonai, Ga'al Yisrael. Top of page 153, the first two lines of Hashkivenu, then together in English. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Ve'ha'amidenu shomreinu lechaim. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your presence we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu, v'al kol amo Yisrael, v'al Yerushalayim. Page 154 at the top, Vishamru, verses from the book of Exodus. And the tune we use is actually a tune Moshe Rothblum, I believe, is his name. He was a professor of mine in rabbinical school. He was, or maybe still is, the rabbi at Adat Ariel in the Valley in Los Angeles. And this is his tune that we always use. I think he wrote it for Camp Ramah. I'm not 100% sure on that part, but I do know that Rabbi Rothblum did write it, and we use it. So Vishamru, top of page 154. Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat la'asot et ha-Shabbat l'dorotam berit olam Vishamru v'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם בריתו עולם. וביום השביעי שבת ויהי נפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית olam. All right, we are at the Amidah, the centerpiece of the evening service. We're going to begin on 155, chanting it, 156 and 157 together. When we're finished with that, please continue silently on your own through the end on 167. And you can follow along in the Hebrew, read the English, or offer up your own personal prayer at this time. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips, that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasei Avot Le'imahot, Umevi Goel Livnei B'neihem, Leman Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer Moshiach U'Magen. Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, V'Ezrat Sarah. Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, V'chayei Meitim atah Rav L'Hoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechalkel Chayim B'Chesed, Mechayei Meitim B'Rachamim Rabim. Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umekayem emunato lishenei afar, michamocha bal gevurot, umidom mehelach, melech meimit umechayeh, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman atah l'hachayot meitim, Baruch atah Adonai, Mechayei hameitim. If you're still completing your Amidah, please continue at your own pace. We're going to continue on page 160, reading together in English. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. And may all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. All right, let's turn to 163, a little bit of hoda'ah, a little bit of gratitude. And every week I say that there's a lot to be grateful for. This week I have a couple of things, two things. One is that my partner Steve celebrated his 49th, don't tell him I said that, birthday yesterday. And yesterday was exactly 1 year ago that I officially became B'nai Sholom's rabbi on the 15th of April, which last year coincided with the 7th day of Pesach. So on the 7th day of Pesach, there was technically a 1 year anniversary. And now this is the official English anniversary. So 1 year, it only seems like 5. No, it seems it went so quickly. It really went so quickly. But a long, strange trip it's been this past year with COVID and everything, right? Page 163 at the top, let's read responsively. For the good in us, which calls us to a better life, we give thanks.
For the strength to improve the world with our hearts and our hands, we offer praise.
For the desire in us, which leads us to work for peace, we are grateful.
For the life and nature, harmony and beauty, for the hope of tomorrow, all praise of the source of being.
And let's close out with Shalom Rav, the prayer for peace, page 164. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech adon, lechol hashalom. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. V'tov benecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol leit uvechol sha'ah bishlomecha. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rahav al Yisrael Amcha, Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam. Now let's continue together with the last two lines near the bottom of 164. Praised are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Baruch atah Adonai, hamivarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom. All right, we're going to jump ahead to 253, Mishaberach, the prayer for healing, the one who blesses, or actually it's literally the one who blessed, and that of course is God. All right, so middle of page 253, and we'll use the Friday night Debbie Friedman tune. Misheberach Avoteinu Mekor Habracha bracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracha li'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. All right, we're going to continue with prayers for our community, page 258 and 259. And they will be the prayer for our congregation, for our country, and for Medinat Yisrael, the state of Israel, who just celebrated her 73rd birthday. Well, actually, it was technically supposed to be today, but the celebration was yesterday because we don't have any of the yoms that go right into Shabbat. So yesterday was Yom Ha'atzmaut, and we'll talk a little bit more about Yom Ha'atzmaut in a couple of minutes. But let's begin and let's read together. Source of all being, may the children of this community learn these passions from us, love of Torah, devotion in prayer, and support of the needy. May we guide with integrity, and may our leadership be in your service. May those who teach and nourish us be blessed with satisfaction, and may we appreciate their time and their devotion. Bless us with the fruits of wisdom and understanding, and may our efforts bring fulfillment and joy. Baruch atah Adonai, she'otecha levadcha b'yirah na'avod. Thus says Adonai, this is what I desire, to unlock the fetters of wickedness and untie the cords of lawlessness, to let the oppressed go free, to break off every yoke. Share your bread with the hungry, and take the wretched poor into your home. When you see the naked, give clothing, and do not ignore your own kin. If you banish the yoke from your midst, the menacing hand, the evil speech, if you offer compassion to the hungry and satisfy the famished creature, then your light shall shine in darkness. Avinu Shabashamayim, Tzur Yisrael v'Go'olo, Barech et Medinat Yisrael, Reshit Smichat Gulatenu. Hagein Aleha B'Yavrat Chastecha, Ufros Aleha Sukat Shlomecha, Ushlach Orcha V'Amitecha L'Rasheha Sareha V'Yoetzeha, V'Takneim Be'etza Tova Milfanecha, V'Natata Shalom Ba'aretz, V'Simchat Olam Liyoshveha, V'Nomar Amen. O Heavenly One, Protector and Redeemer of Israel, bless the state of Israel, which marks the dawning of hope for all who seek peace. Shield it beneath the wings of your love. Spread over it the canopy of your peace. Send your light and truth to all who lead and advise, guiding them with your good counsel. Establish peace in the land and fullness of joy for all who dwell there. Amen. All right, friends, Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos. This week in the Torah readings, we get another double header, Tazria Mitzurah. All right, and these are one of 7 sets of parshiot that, depending upon the year, are either read together, like this year, or read separately. For example, when we have a leap year. So this week is another double header. Tazria and Mitzora go together. It's not like we're yoking two dissimilar parshiot, because they deal with the always riveting, always fascinating body emissions and skin disease, right? So if you're into dermatology, these are your parshiot, right? Tazria starts out with rituals for a woman to regain her purity after giving birth, right? And the ancients were very, very squeamish when it came to things that usually are in the inside of our body being on the outside, especially blood. And so they composed a number of rituals that will allow a person to re-enter that state of ritual purity after a number of these kinds of bodily incidents. And one of them was a woman giving birth. And if she gives birth to a boy, she is ritually unclean for 33 days. And then she'll do the ritual. If, on the other hand, she gave birth to a girl, she would remain ritually unclean or impure for 66 days. And there are lots of reasons why the rabbis explain that. But I think it just basically comes down to the fact that boys were much more valuable in the ancient Middle East. And so in a way, the woman gets rewarded for having a boy. And girls, which are very necessary for the survival of a nation, were looked upon with less joy or less glee than boys. And then Tazria goes on and gives a diagnosis and treatment of a variety of skin diseases. Right? They were early dermatologists, right? The person with sa'arat, right? It was a person with a serious skin disease. Now, we have to understand that in the ancient world, a skin disease. Now, let me back up a second. Nowadays, we assume that these skin diseases were things like eczema, psoriasis, impetigo, and leprosy, but not Hansen's disease, right? Whatever they would call leprosy. And so we know that they're treatable. We know that they're not necessarily deadly, although they can be if left untreated, some skin diseases. But in the ancient world, they didn't have the medical technology or the medical knowledge that we have. And so when somebody would break out in something, they would get upset. The people would get worried, because if it was contagious and it was left unchecked or untreated or nobody did anything, it could wipe out, it could decimate the people. And so Tazria takes a deep, deep look at that kind of stuff. Then we get to Mitzora, and it continues this discussion of skin diseases, but adds the rituals for their purification. And also the treatment for fungus and mildew in the home, because that would be dangerous. Well, we call them fungus and mildew. But when you would have these kinds of outbreaks, especially in the close quarters that Bnei Yisrael was living, right, there was a problem, right? Could the fungus spread from tent to tent? Could the fungus spread from the tent to your clothes? Could you then take that fungus and spread it somewhere else? So they were very, very concerned about these kinds of things. And then what everybody really likes to read about is the ritual impurity caused by coming into contact with discharge from sexual organs. All right, that takes up a fair amount towards the end of Mitzora. All right, again, the ancients were anything that was normally on the inside of your body that found its way out could conceivably render you ritually impure. All right, and so they spent a lot of time worrying about these things. And someday we'll have a class where I'll explain exactly why they were concerned and how their minds worked around these things. But what's important is that the Bnei Yisrael, or these laws, are setting up one very important idea that later Western philosophy will I will kind of wrestle with in a way. But what the Torah is teaching us here, especially with these rituals, and some of these rituals include sending the people who are infected outside the camp for a period of time so that they don't infect someone else. And what the Torah is teaching is that the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The keeping the community healthy is worth inconveniencing an individual or several individuals who might be contagious. And so this is something to think about, especially in the modern period, right? With disease. And, how do we control disease? Do we just let people who can infect us run rampant? Or do we, pull them aside and say, we're going to isolate you for a little bit, make sure you're no longer a danger to yourself and to the larger community. And so that's what the Torah is talking about in Tazri and Metzorah, separating individuals who could infect and destroy a community. So who we're thinking about. And that, friends, is the Torah portion in a nutshell. All right, last week, I said we were in a period that I like to call the Yoms. All right, last week we had Yom HaShoah, and this week we had two of the Yom observances, is probably what we would call them. We certainly don't celebrate Yom HaShoah, and we certainly don't celebrate what the day before Yom HaAtzmaut. We don't celebrate them. We observe them. We mark them. And so the 2 days that we had this week are Yom HaZikaron and Yom HaAtzmaut. And in Israel, Yom HaZikaron is always the day before Yom HaAtzmaut. Yom HaZikaron translates as Israel's Memorial Day. And you see the word Zikaron there, where we get the word Yizkor. And so it's literally the day of remembrance. All right, and that falls on the 4th of ER every year. And as of 2020, Yom HaZikaron recalls the 23,928 casualties of war and the 4,167 victims of hostile acts. And Yom HaZikaron was established in 1951. So it's been around almost as long as Israel. It's a very, very, it's a solemn day there. And if you've been in Israel for Yom HaZikaron, it's quite moving, because the entire Israeli population knows somebody, remembers somebody on that day, because everybody serves in the military. Right? It's an amazing day to be there. It begins at 8 p.m. or sundown the night before, and it begins with a 1-minute siren. And when that siren goes off, everything stops. If you're driving on the street, you pull over. If you're driving on the highway, everybody pulls over, and you get out and you stand until the siren is done. And that marks the beginning. All places of entertainment, movie theaters, arcades, bars, places like that, they're shut. They close for Yom HaZikaron. And all regular television programming ceases. So there's no new TV. And what they do is the names and ranks of every soldier killed are broadcast for 24 hours. And so this is a very serious day. The next day, during the daylight hours, at 11 a.m., there is a 2-minute siren. Again, everything stops. People stand, and then they will go back about their business. But you'll see, if you're there, the Israeli flags are at half staff. People light memorial candles on Yom HaZikaron, and a lot of people visit cemeteries. And like I said, it's very, very, very meaningful for the Israelis to have this day, because everybody serves in the IDF. And so there is not one family in Israel who has not been touched by losing someone in a war. Everybody serves. And it might not be a family member that they lost, but it might be a close friend. It might be somebody that they served with. So everybody has a stake in the Army or the Air Force or the Navy, and everybody understands the importance of Yom HaZikaron. And like I said, I had been there one year for Yom HaZikaron, and it is tremendously moving. Now, at the end of Yom HaZikaron, it's like a switch gets flipped. Because at the end of Yom HaZikaron, with the ceremony at the National Military Cemetery at Mount Herzl, the flag is then returned to full staff, and it's Yom HaAtzmaut, Israel's Independence Day. And the proximity of these two, right? This was done consciously by the Knesset and the leaders of Israel. The proximity of these two is to remind people of the price of independence and what was gained by the soldiers' sacrifices. Right? So before they go into the celebration of Yom HaAtzmaut, before they go in and they celebrate Israel's Independence Day, they take a day to remember the people upon whom that independence was built. And for as solemn a day as Yom HaZikaron is, Yom HaAtzmaut is a festival. It's a huge day. People have barbecues, they have picnics, there are fireworks, and this was established. I don't have the date. Well, we know the date. It was the 14th of May in 1948, which was the 5th of ER. Right, so that was Israel's Independence Day, and it has been celebrated ever since. And there are just a couple of interesting things that go on along with the fireworks and the picnics. There's the International Bible Contest, where people go and are quizzed on their knowledge of the Bible. The Israel Prize, which is a huge prize in Israel given to scientists and authors. It's amazing. That ceremony is on Yom HaAtzmaut. And one of the few times during the year, some IDF bases, some of the Defense Force bases are open to the public. So you could go and see, how the soldiers live and what it's like to be on an Israeli Army or Air Force base. And so that was this week. So 2 of the Yoms. Now, we have no more Yoms. That's it. Yom HaShoah, a week after Pesach, 8 days before Yom HaAtzmaut, Yom HaZikaron, and then Yom HaAtzmaut. And these are all observances that are modern. They're put on the calendar in the 20th century. And I know in the conservative prayer book, there is a special prayer on Yom HaAtzmaut that is read during the Amidah, during the day, during Yom HaAtzmaut. And so, it's a special day. It's a special day. And these are 3 of the more modern observances that we have. And if you're ever in Israel for Yom HaZikaron or Yom HaAtzmaut, you will not be disappointed in the how meaningful they are. And so Shabbat Shalom and good Shabbos and happy birthday, happy 73rd birthday to Israel. May she have many, many more happy and safe birthdays.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. All right. Now, before I ask Sam what day it is, what time it is, we are going to count the Omer. Right from the second day of Passover all the way through the evening of the day before Shavuot, we count off 49 days, 7 weeks. And then the 50th day is the holiday Shavuot. And last night was the 19th day of the counting of the Omer. And I'm just going to, I know that the brachot are in there somewhere. But I have the full piece that I read. But let me see if I can quick find it for those who want to follow along a little bit. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see. Abdallah, Eliyahu, songs and hymns. No. Hallel, Hanukkah. Nope. Not going to find it. Let me see. Maybe if I check the. There it is, 278. I was dancing around it. I had every other page except 278 where you could find the blessing. Hineni muchan u'mizuman l'kayem mitzvat aseh shel sfirat ha'omer kamo shekatuv b'Torah u'sfartem lechem b'mocharat ha'shabbat miyom haviechem et omer ha'tenufa sheva shabbatot timiyot tihiena ad mimocharat ha'shabbat hashvi'it tisperu chamishim yom. I am ready to fulfill the mitzvah of counting the Omer as it is ordained in the Torah. You shall count from the eve of the second day of Pesach, when an Omer of grain is to be brought as an offering, 7 complete weeks. The day after the 7th week of your counting will make 50 days. And the bracha, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu al sfirat ha'omer. As I said yesterday, was the 19th day. Hayom esrim yom, shehem shnei shavuot v'shisha yamim la'omer. Today is the 20th day of the Omer, making 2 weeks and 6 days of the Omer. Sam, what time is it? Kiddush. I don't know what I would do without Sam. I don't. Because I would continually forget Kiddush on Friday nights. Vayihi erev, vayihi voker, yom hashishi, vayechulu hashamayim v'haaretz, v'chol tzivam, vayechal Elohim bayom hashvi'i, melachto asher asa. Vayishbot bayom hashvi'i mikol melachto asher asa. Vayavarech Elohim et yom hashvi'i. Vayikadesh oto. Kivo Shabbat mikol melachto asher bara Elohim la'asot. Savri. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech olam borei peri hagafen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uvratzon hinchilanu zikaron lema'aseh bereshit ki hu yom techila lamikra'ei kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim. Kivanu v'acharta, v'otanu kidashta, mikol ha'amim, v'shabbat kodshecha, v'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu, baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha'shabbat. Aleinu, page 282. Aleinu l'shabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kagoye haratzot, velo samanu kamishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, V'gor aleinu kechol hamonam, va'anachnu korim, u'mishtachavim u'modim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu, shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz, Umoshav Yekaro Bashamai Mimahal, Ushrinatu Zo, Begov He Meromi, U Eloheinu Ein Od, Emet Malkeinu Efesulato, Kakatu Vitorato, Viadata Hayom Vehashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai Hu Elohim, Bashamayim Imahal, V'al haaretz, Mitachat Ein Od. Top of page 285, let's read together. Let the time not be distant, O God, when all shall turn to you in love, when corruption and evil shall give way to integrity and goodness, when superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. O may all created in your image become one in spirit and one in friendship, forever united in your service. Then shall your realm be established on earth, and the word of your prophet fulfilled. Adonai will reign forever and ever. V'nehemar v'haya Adonai lamelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. This week we observed the following yahrzeits: Rachel Rose Glazer, wife of Samuel and mother of Herman, Norman, and Simon. Seymour Kenneth Frieden, husband of Lillian, father of Nick and his twin brother Joshua. Jerome Hayflick, Sally's husband, father of Ralph, Faith, and Nancy. Rochelle Hyman, Pauline's cousin. Rachel Schiff, Mary Cantor's mother, Rena Stern's grandmother. Nettie Katz Shaddles, Steve Shaddles' grandmother. Walter H. Lewis Sr., grandfather of Walt. Harvey Shapiro, Billy Glick's sister Barbara's husband. Gussie Weisberg, Art's mother. Daniel B. Bertman, Ethel Levine's brother-in-law, married to her sister Charlotte. Rebecca Jurin, Nathan's great-grandmother, wife of Nathan Jurin. Marshall Levin, married to Vicky. Dorothy Schnitt, Sid's wife, mother of Lainey, Ronnie, and Jerry. George Strauss, Harold's relative. Betty Galpin Kolker, married to Herb, mother of Larry, Stephen, David, and Deborah. Paul Gersman, Jack Steinberg's grandfather. Dorothy Cohn, relative of Larry. Harold Yaget, Maxine's father. Matilda Gold, wife of Stanley. Sarah Ossoff Supovitz, Lynn Mayer's paternal grandmother. May their souls be bound up in the bond of life eternal. May their memories be a blessing to us always, and may they all rest in peace. Mourner's Kaddish is on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru Amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah v'vorach le'olam alameo ma'iyah. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitaleh v'yithalal shmei dekudesha b'richu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata da'amiran v'alma v'imru Amen. Yehi Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya V'Chaim Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. Oseh Shalom B'Ramav Hu Ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu V'Al Kol Yisrael V'Imru Amen. All right, friends. I forgot during my talk to show you that there is a specific flower in Israel that's the national memorial flower, and it's called the Dam HaMaccabim, right? And it's a red flower, and literally it means the blood of the Maccabees. And so this is an artist rendition, but that's an actual picture of this red flower, Dam HaMaccabim, which is the national memorial flower of Israel. April, as we've been mentioning, is Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and the Contact Rape Crisis Center is available 24 hours a day, and their counselors and their advocates 24 hours a day to provide support to people who have experienced sexual violence at any time. Please call their number at 304-399-1111 or visit www.contacthuntington.com. A couple of announcements. Services tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. and then on Sunday at 9 a.m. And Sunday, of course, is the raffle. Still able to get tickets?
Yes, until noon on Sunday.
Okay, Sam says if you haven't gotten your ticket, or if you want more tickets, the more you play, the better your chances. Until noon on Sunday. Noon on Sunday. No adult ed on Sunday. We have the raffle. Wednesday is Yiddish choir, right? The best Yiddish choir anywhere. Get your Yiddish on. Sing songs with friends old and new. And then we're back on Friday. And so it's a relatively quiet week. Lots to getting ready for Shavuot in there's gonna be 3 in 2 weeks. 2 weeks? No, 5 weeks. 4 weeks. I can't count. 4 weeks. It's going to be 3 weeks of the Omer this weekend, and then it will be Shavuot. Did I miss anything, Sam?
No, you're good.
No? Okay, I'm good. I want to thank Sam for being my tech guru and my kiddish reminder. And we'll close out with Adon Olam, page 321. Adon Olam Asher Malach B'terem Kol Yitzir Nivra Li'et Nasa B'chefso Kol Azai Melech Shemo Nikra V'acharei Kiglot HaKol Levahado Imloch Nohora V'hu haya, v'hu hoveh, v'hu yiyeh b'tifara, v'hu echad v'yein sheni, lahamshil lo lahachbira, v'li reshit v'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'hamisra, v'hu eli v'chai goali, v'zochev li v'eit zahara, Vehu nisi humanosli, menat kosi biomekra, biahado afkid ruchi, be'etishan bi'ahira, v'im ruchi geviati, Adonai li v'lo ira. All right, let's see who's greeting us this evening. Suzanne Hartz, Shabbat Shalom from Mari and Suzanne. Well, thank you, Suzanne. Same to you. Jenny Bro, Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone is well. We're doing well here, Jenny. Thank you. Cliff Wanamaker, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. ML Glazer, good Shabbat to all from Herman and Mary Lee. Herman and Mary Lee, Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, only blessings. GTD, good Shabbos from Herman and Mary Lee, along with all watching back home in Huntington and all over. Shabbat Shalom, David T. in Florida, and Judy Lundy, Shabbat Shalom. Well, same to you, Judy, and to the people in Brooklyn who are watching, Patty Ann and Melanie, and everybody else who's watching out there. Thank you for being part of our Shabbat, and be careful out there. Shabbat shalom, good Shabbos, and we'll see you soon.